Now is CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg. He's joining us from Athens, Greece, on board a brand new cruise ship, the Silver Moon. Peter, always great to see you. Let's talk about where you are now, because Greece is wide open to Americans. How is the country handling it?
Yes, Greece was one of the first countries to open to Americans back in May, actually. And since then, Americans have been flooding the zone. Of course, the EU announcing that the other 26 countries are now open to vaccinated Americans. So they're coming. We're coming. Hotels are running at about 60 or 70% occupancy, not 100%, but most of those Americans. And they're having a great time. I'm in Santorini right now, one of the ports we stopped at. And normally, to give you an example, on a day like today, there would be 7 major cruise ships in the harbor. Today, only 2. So the numbers were manageable. You weren't like suffocating with other tourists. And by the way, this applies to all the islands in Greece. Now, keep in mind that Greece is also still in a lockdown, but it's a modified lockdown. Everything is closed between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., but I don't think we're going to be partying that late. And other than that, it's open to Americans, and not just in terms of the airlines, but in terms of the cruise lines as well.
What about the rest of Europe? What is travel like there now?
Well, the other 26 countries are opening up. They're not opening up symmetrically. For example, they're coming up with new different kinds of vaccine passports. Italy is now giving you a special access card that if you can show proof of vaccination, it gives you entrance into museums and other public buildings. France is experimenting with a similar program. But in the United Kingdom, that's still a mess. We were expecting that on July 19th, they called it their Freedom Day. They would be relaxing the COVID restrictions within the country. They did that, but at the same time, a spike in the number of cases meant that the United States State Department then issued a level 4 do not travel advisory to the United Kingdom, and that means the doors closed again, and we're not reciprocating. We're still not allowing any Europeans, vaccinated or not, to come to the U.S.
Well, Venice, we know, is banning cruise ships. They cite environmental issues and the chaos that comes with thousands of people flooding into their city. How likely do you think this is to hold?
Oh, in Venice, it's going to hold. They didn't just ban cruise ships. They banned cruise ships in the canals of Venice. So any cruise ship going near Venice has to basically lodge itself somewhere a little bit further away. Now, remember, this is the same location that pre-pandemic was actually considering putting turnstiles in St. Mark's Square because of over-tourism. The Bridge of Sighs could have been the Bridge of Thighs. So they're trying to deal with this because nobody said they wanted to become another Venice. Venice said they didn't want to become another Barcelona. But it's not just sticking just to Europe. In the United States alone, in Hawaii, something that I happen to find unbelievable because it's sort of counterintuitive to what this particular state does, the mayor of Maui has actually appealed to airlines to reduce the number of their flights there because they can't handle the numbers. Now, traditionally, the mayor of Maui's job would be to get more flights and to get more people. Right now, it's not working.
We know you're on the maiden voyage of the Silver Moon. Crystal Cruises will be the first major cruise line to sail out of Boston since the pandemic. They announced this July 13th for August 22nd. So are all of these cruise lines just eager to get back to sea, even if it's a last-minute trip?
They've been waiting to get back to sea for over a year and a half, so they've been preparing for this. They are in compliance with the CDC rules, with the possible exception of the state of Florida, which is still being litigated in the courts. But the one thing the cruise lines have at their disposal that hotels and other aspects of the travel industry don't is they literally can reposition their assets. So the reason why Crystal Cruises is sailing out of Boston is because they didn't want to sail out of Florida. The reason why a number of cruise ships are sailing out of St. Martin or St. Martin or Barbados is because they don't want to sail out of Florida. And you have a similar situation brewing in Texas where ships that would normally sail out of Galveston may now move to New Orleans.
CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg, always great to get your insight. Thank you so much for your time. You can check in with Peter and all the latest travel updates on his weekly CBS radio show, Eye on Travel. We'll be right back.